RunPureSports.com. We got a little UFC action. We're back talking Garry PRATES UFC fight night with my boy Dan. Hopefully we'll get the three-man booth here in a little bit. We had a little, NBA guys getting ruled out, had to fix our baseball teams. That's what happens over at Run Pure Sports when you're playing multiple sports. Dan's playing baseball, I'm playing basketball. But obviously, we can't forget the UFC winners. So we obviously had to come on for this card. Pretty sweet card, actually, Dan, for a fight night. You were talking about it before we jumped on live. We're both excited for this card.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of really kind of like silly fights on this card, like a lot of meme fights. I feel like Garry PRATES is a meme fight. Anytime Anthony Smith fights now is a meme fight. Pereira Magomedov, Schnell flick, like. I think it's going to be a really entertaining card, man. I think we're going to see a lot of dumb shit, and I'm excited.
This is definitely a Dan card. The more you start reading off some of these fights, I'm like, I could totally see why Dan is into this fight. He's like, I'm going to see death on a few of these fights. Like some of these guys are going to absolutely get destroyed in the octagon, or pull off some crazy, victories one way. So either way, I think you get some pretty entertaining fights here. We'll see on the PRATES fight. I think that's the one. I think that's a very interesting fight because I could see it playing out so many different ways because the fighters are so different in how they approach, fights. So I think it's going to be interesting, kind of like which style wins out, Dan, at the end of the day with that main fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm hoping that Garry gets forced into producing a little bit more offense, just having to deal with PRATES.
Thing with Garry, man, is it's tough to force him. A lot of guys have tried. It's really tough to force him to do something he doesn't want to do. That's the one thing about Garry. I know we like to make jokes about Garry, but he's definitely someone that likes to approach fights, and it's like his game plan and he'll go to it. And he's obviously got a backup plan, but he does not like to get away from his plan. Like he's got a plan and it's hard for guys to get him off his game plan. So we'll see if PRATES can. I hope he can, honestly, because that's how this fight becomes a fun fight when that happens. So hopefully we get some violence there. But all right, let's start at the first fight on the card. Work our way down here. Obviously, looking at the DraftKings slate here. Chelsea Chandler, 7,200 versus Joselyn Edwards. Edwards, 9K here. 9K for Joselyn Edwards. That's a mouthful, Dan. Coming off of a massive score, though, against Vidal, where she put up 120 DraftKings points and did find a finish. A decision warrior that finally found a finish in the UFC, which is nice for her. We'll see if she can replicate that performance, but she's a pretty big favorite here. I think she's sitting like minus 270-ish on DraftKings Sportsbook, which for her, that's pretty big for her.
Yeah, she's a sizable favorite here. I like Edwards here, like as a contrarian play. I think she obviously last time was the first time she had ever finished someone. I don't necessarily project her to get a finish here, but when she came into the UFC, she was more of a one-dimensional boxer, and she's been mixing in kind of more takedowns, more grappling, obviously with the submission win last time out. Women's fights, the scoring is much more lenient. We talk about it all the time. She's 9K. She's going to be probably around 20% at most, which is pretty low on for that range. So I like Edwards to have some sneaky upside in this spot against Chandler, who usually just she's not very good, technically, she wants to grapple, but she's mostly just bullying girls with her size and physicality. And Edwards is going to be able to match her there. So she's not going to enjoy the same sort of size and physicality advantage that she usually does. But, on the Chandler side, if you wanted to play her, she's 7,200. She has a really heavy grappling style, which scores really well on DraftKings. So if she's winning and finding success, she's likely scoring pretty well because it's going to come with takedowns and control and, other grappling stats. So I'm pretty interested in this fight. They're both going to be probably just a shade below 20% owned. And I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and Chandler looks like she's in a little better shape, to be honest with you. She's normally the bigger, thicker, and I still think she might be the bigger, like thicker girl at the end of the day. But you brought up good points about Edwards. Like Edwards' legs are massive. Like when you watch her fight, and it's like look at her upper body and then look at her legs, and you're like, holy shit, her legs are huge. So it makes sense to me when girls go in there thinking they might be able to bully her, and then they're like, holy shit, like she's a little harder to move than I thought. And I do think they're going to get in those clinch situations, which Edwards has actually shown in her last couple fights that she's done pretty well in. Been able to reverse some positions, a bunch of takedowns in 2 of her last 3 fights. Even in her loss, like a couple fights ago, she had like 4 or 5 takedowns in that fight. And if we do think this is heavy grappling, we could see a lot of takedowns from one side. So I do like this fight as a contrarian fight. Oh, Keith Alex Burner. I saw Fight Off and I was about to cry if it was like one of the fights on this card. So I'm glad it's just the Weidman fight. Yeah, I think this is a good fight for DFS. I think it's a sneaky fight. I mean, I would assume that more people would be willing to play Chandler just because she's 7,200. Dan, what's her ownership coming in at? Because you said Edwards is going to be like 20% max. I don't even think she gets the 20%. I think it's more like 15, to be honest with you. But what's Chandler coming in at?
Chandler's coming in around the same, just below 20. And I think you're right. I think Chandler is more likely to come in. She's probably going to come in higher than Edwards just because of pricing. So, I mean, I think they're both good plays. I'm not going to go crazy on either one of them. I'll probably come in about around what I'm projecting the field to be. And then I'll probably end up coming in over because women's fights have a tendency of coming in below where they're projected. So sort of my approach lately with women's fights, usually I'd be getting like way over on them because I'd have them projected for a certain amount of ownership. And then, they come in way under that. And then I end up like way over leveraged on them. So I've been pretty happy coming in about around the field on most of these women's fights. And I still end up, around the field that I have projected. Then I still come in mostly slightly over.
Yeah. Connor says Chelsea Chandler to run away in the octagon minus 250. I like that bet, actually. I think that's,
I didn't even when I was talking about meme fights, I didn't even mention this one, but we're starting the card with a fucking meme fight with Chelsea Chandler getting on her bike.
Yeah, I think I'm going to come in like I'm probably going to get to like 20% of Edwards just as a contrarian play. I think in my MME stuff.
Yeah,
because I do think even though she probably doesn't get the finish, like if this does turn into grapple heavy, like I could still see her putting up a decent score. So
you have multiple takedowns, reversals, all kinds of, and again, it all gets scored way more leniently with the women's fights. So also
and she's tough. Like I think she's better. I don't know about you, but I think she's almost better everywhere the fight goes, to be honest with you. So
Edwards, yeah.
Like so that's why I'm going to be more on that side. But that's the first fight here, Edwards and Chandler. Let's go to a more coin flippy fight here where the line has been moving. It feels like a good deal throughout this. We got Romero against Kowamba here. Roberto Romero, 8,300 on DraftKings versus Timmy Kowamba. Kowamba, 7,900. Both guys coming off of a loss. Now, Roberto Romero's loss, he was actually a short notice step up against David Onama, where he obviously, I think he found out like 3 days before the fight he was going to fight or something like that because of Onama's opponent for whatever reason dropped out or whatever. So they were scrambling to find him someone. This dude stepped up and he was, I mean, like for someone who obviously didn't get a full camp and stuff like that, he was game, Dan. Like he came in there, he dropped David Onama early. He had some really nasty leg kicks inside and outside. He was throwing heavy leg kicks. Got around the back, almost choked Onama out. Couldn't get his arm under the chin, but he was close to it. And then, you know, I think he put so much into that early round one, and then Onama kind of like figured it out and then just put it on him, obviously, because that Onama's a really good fighter. Like, we're going to talk about him later in the fight. He's a very good fighter. So, you know, no harm in that loss. I thought he actually showed really well in that loss, honestly. So I like him here. I think he wins. I think he can find a finish, whether that's by submission or you know, knockout here. Kowamba is a tough dude. His 2 losses in the UFC are both decision losses. But, you know, I just think Romero, with a full camp behind him, you know, not on short notice like it was, he's dangerous, man. Like, the way he went at David Onama early, that was impressive. That was like, that was really impressive to me. So I think he could put it all together here and put up a nice score. So I'm on the Romero side. Dude's tough. He can take a punch. You know, he got dropped by Onama, but like kept going. Like that shows a lot, in my opinion. Didn't quit on himself, even though he was exhausted, especially the last round and a half. So I like all that stuff. I'm heavy on the Romero side. I bet him inside the distance at plus 275. What are you doing here with this fight, Dan?
Yeah, so my projections actually favor Kowamba slightly, and it doesn't really want to get to this fight too much. And I think a lot of that has to do with this is one of the fights that's lined most likely to go to decision. But I think on the Romero side, obviously he's got more finishing upside, but he's also got some wrestling upside. So I'm going to boost my projection on Romero a little bit. Kowamba, I'm not super interested in. He just doesn't produce a ton of offense. I think Romero is going to win. I think Romero is going to come out and he's just going to like back him down. Kowamba just doesn't deal well with pressure. And I think Romero is going to just pressure him for the duration or until he breaks. So way more interested in Romero for the finishing and wrestling upside. Kowamba, like, I'm not gonna like mush him or anything. I'll get what I get of him, but as of now, I'm really not getting all that much, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think I have any Kowamba. I'm just going to be heavy on the Romero side. I think he can find a finish. I get what you're saying, but even if he doesn't, I think he could still score well in a decision. With all the pressure.
He's 8,300, and he's got like multiple takedown upside. So just, I'm not going to go crazy on it. Both of them are going to be like 20% owned, just like the last fight. And
I mean, if he comes in like he did the last fight, but he has like the cardio to keep it going, that's going to score well for 3 rounds of a decision, because that's volume right there. I mean, Onama was just killing him with that jab later in the fight, and then he got him. He was on his back for a little while because of the takedowns and stuff. Like, I don't think Kowamba is going to do that to him. So, you know, I think he's going to be able to dictate this fight with pressure and stuff like that. So we'll see. Good fight though to start off the card. Did you bet this fight, Dan?
I haven't bet anything yet. I'm going to once we're done with the show. I mean, we're looking at stuff right now. I will have my best bet by the end of the show, but I usually like to just kind of bet the card as it happens.
Honestly, I always throw in a few bets before, but that is my favorite way to do it. It's just fight by fight, like as you go. That is my favorite way too.
For letting the live bets fly, like it's a good time.
No, the only thing is like when you see a number like drop and you're like, oh damn, I could have got like plus 400 and now it's like plus 225 or something.
I see a number drop, I just bet it heavier.
Yeah. It's like the flick sub. I saw that at like plus 350 earlier in the week, and now it's down to like 225 on DraftKings or something like that. So
yeah, that. I mean, it's the only way he's going to win.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. All right. We'll get to that fight soon. Next fight here on the card, we got Joselyn Amora. Amora 9,500. Holy crap! I thought I was seeing things when I saw 9,500, Dan, for a second. Versus Poliana Vanna here. Vanna 6,700. Both Vanna coming off of round 2 loss to Robertson here.
Destroyed.
And she's fighting a grappler in Amora, who just came off of subbing Demopoulos, but She kind of cheated a little bit. I don't know, Dan. Do you subscribe to the if you're not cheating, you're not trying a little bit type
Oh,
of thing?
absolutely. No,
Yeah.
cheat all the time. They don't punish you. Why wouldn't you cheat?
I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. So we should bet her heavier then, is what you're saying.
Also,
Bet the cheaters.
like if she cheated to beat Demopoulos, I'm also like kind of fine with that because Demopoulos has won some fights that she definitely should have lost.
Yeah, but those are the judges' faults. Those were the judges. I agree with you.
The universe
100%.
evening things out, you know.
Okay, so you're just saying it was almost like bad karma in a way. You just like she got her with it.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely.
All right, that's fair. So what are you seeing here with Vanna and Amora? Obviously, Amora's nasty grappler. Viana's been subbed multiple times in the UFC, even though she does have some grappling herself, but I think Amora might be a little higher level.
Yeah, she's way higher level. It's really like you said, 95 is like sticker shock for Amari, right? But she's, like you said, a nasty submission grappler. She's super dangerous.
This is sticker shock right here, Dan.
Yeah, she's got like the best, maybe she's got the second best inside the distance line on the slate. I actually have minus 105 for a first round win for Amarim. That might be from where are you seeing plus 140?
Yeah, where are you seeing plus 140 in Westlake?
So I've got minus 105, but yeah,
he'll type in the chat, but keep going.
She is a nasty grappler, but this price, I think it's warranted, and it really has a lot to do with the fact that, like you said, Vanna, like she struggles so much on the ground. She's super vulnerable. Amarim has been a really potent first round finisher, so I think the biggest downside risk you have here, like I think if it goes to decision, it's going to be Amarim just domination on the mat. Even a round 2 finish might work, just because it would come with tons of control and grappling stats. I mean, it's a smash spot for Amarim. The worst case is the same as it always is with submission grapplers, where she might just win too efficiently. You know, she might just take her down and choke her after 2 minutes, and you miss out on the quick win bonus. You get like one takedown and a finish. She scores 95 at 9,500. That's not going to do it. So there's definitely downside, but she's one of the highest upside options on the slate, and a lot of it has to do with how bad Vanna is on the ground. Vanna, you can play her 6,700. It's women's MMA. I mean, I guess she could. She's not winning a decision, that's for sure. But like, you know, she's really just a low-owned dart throw. She helps you unlock some triple top builds, just like Smith, just like Flick. But I think, like I said in the article, it's like I prefer Anthony Smith and Jimmy Flick in the year 2025 to Poliana Vanna. So that kind of like says it all right there, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And Westlake, I just looked it up too. It is plus 140 on DraftKings for a more round 1. So
seems like a good price then.
Yeah, definitely seems like a good price. And you brought up the only worry to me is like, what if she finishes her like too efficiently, I guess?
Yeah.
But if she doesn't, it could just be complete domination and then like a late finish, and we get like everything we want, like multiple takedowns, control time, ground and pound a little bit. So that's the one thing. And what's the ownership looking like on her? Because she is 9,500. I mean, like, that's a hefty price. In a range too, may I add, where we do have some killers.
Yeah, she just rates out really, really well across the board, like odds-wise, projection-wise. So she's projected to come in at like 32%, which seems pretty hefty, but like she's not that hard to fit in.
Put her up with Zhang and Alice Garoff. Where are they all kind of like together? Where are they all like rating out ownership-wise? Is she like the highest? No, she can't be the highest.
Zhang is the highest, then it's Amarim, and then it's Alice Garov. But Alice Garov, of course, is 9,700, so that's going to suppress his ownership a little bit. Yeah, Amarim is going to be one of the more popular options up in the 9K range. But again, I think it's warranted. Like, she's got crazy upside. Her opponent struggles the most where she excels the most. So a lot of times that's just a recipe for a smash score.
Yeah, it's crazy too because Dan, just 2 fights ago, think about this. Just 2 fights ago, Dan, this girl was a plus, was it 140 or 170 dog to Corey McKenna? Think about that. That's crazy. Like she
Yeah,
was
she was a plus 150 dog to Corey McKenna.
she was
T-Rex
a
arms.
plus 150 dog to Corey McKenna. And in that fight, all she did was like Corey McKenna caught a kick. She just jumped guard like as quick as possible. She's like, okay, you caught my leg. Perfect. Now get over here. And then she worked it from there. Like
We're done.
And I think she is improving to where now, like the last fight, she can go get her own takedowns. She doesn't have to like force the jumping guard as much. She looks like she's improving a little bit. So I do think she finds a submission. It's just whether it comes round 1, round 2. I'm not really sure on that, but I'm going to play her, Dan. I always like paying up for the chicks because even though it's interesting that she's going to catch ownership, I know that people don't love clicking on a female at 9,500. Like I just, I get it. The odds, they might push her a little bit more than normal, but I'm going to still try and get to her in that range at that price tag. Cause I do think she's going to find a finish. It's just about when and how efficient it is. So
you don't really have to sacrifice much. Like we've got some pretty live dogs. So, I mean, just in my preliminary builds, I'm getting equal amounts, Garov, Zhang Ming Yang, and Amarim. Like I have them all 40 plus. Like I'm selling Edwards and Onama really hard here in this build. So it's going to flatten out a little bit from here, but you know, these the top end isn't particularly hard to get to.
Connor said Amora can triangle him anytime. I think either one of them, I would allow it. So that's we got a lot of Connors in the chat, by the way. We got a few Connors in the chat. Where is JVC? Joe asked. JVC is, I think, making his updates to NBA with the late news. So hopefully JVC will be on. He's going to try and jump on once he's finished. But I think some of that late news for NBA with guys being out and some waiting on news might have thrown a wrench in that. So hopefully we get JVC on here at some point to give some winners, but we'll see on that.
Respect to everyone still on the NBA grind, man.
Yeah.
I moved to baseball so fast. I
thought the playoffs was going to be like, man, we really don't have to worry about like injuries, guys being questionable. We've had Boston guys be questionable the last couple of days, doubtful. Now we got this slate with Golden State and Jimmy Butler and Darius Garland out, like just total mess for playoff slate.
The clown show.
Oh, that's the NBA for you. There's my guy, Uncle T. Uncle T's playing a little MMA today. Look at this guy. Uncle T's been winning everything, so he's just starting to play everything. That's what happens. I love that. All right, Dan, let's move on here. Let's go back to another, I would say, close to a coin flippy fight. We got Malcolm Wellmaker minus 122 on DraftKings versus Cameron Saman. Saman sitting plus 102 on DK Sportsbook. And this fight, it's, the 7,900 or 7,800, 8,400. Both guys have issues defensively, Dan, and it makes me struggle with this fight because I feel like I feel like the side to bet is probably Saman. I think he's fought the better competition. If you look at who he's lost to, I mean, he's lost to some absolute beat. I mean, he lost to C-Rod. No shame in losing to C-Rod, in my opinion. And he lost to Peyton Talbot, where, my God, first of all, we got to remember that was close. It was like almost a similar line to this, as crazy, to Peyton Talbot, as crazy as that sounds. And my God, he ate some crazy shots before he finally went out. Like some of those knees, Dan, that he just like completely ate and kept moving. The problem with Saman is his defensive strike. He gets hit. He gets hit a lot. Now he's tough. I think a lot of people would have went out way sooner against Peyton Talbot with some of those things he was eating, but me personally anyways. But, it's something that worries me with a closely lined fight and a guy in Malcolm Wellmaker who hasn't fought as good a competition, but we saw in the Contender Series, that dude's got one punch power. He can put your lights out. I mean, he was moving back. It was kind of like a counter check, like hook-ish thing, but it connected and it flatlined, dude, like really fast. So this guy's got power, but he's got issues defensively when it comes to his striking. His hands are low. He pulls his head back like in a straight line to where his chin's up. He's definitely hittable. And I don't think he's going to respect Saman because I don't think he's going to respect his power because Saman's not really the most powerful guy. So I think both these guys have major flaws, and I struggle betting this fight. I'll be honest. I put on the sheet. I'm Saman. I'm probably going to bet him at the plus money, the slight plus money, but I'm not as confident on this fight. This is a fight I could play both sides of in DFS. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't done my picks yet, but from what I'm looking at, it looks like I am on Wellmaker. I'm feeling the same for DFS as well. Wellmaker just obviously has more finishing upside. He's got the way better inside the distance line, better round one line. He's got more one-shot power. Both of these guys produce a good amount of offense. Like, they throw a lot of volume. They both wrestle a bit. I expect this fight, even if it goes to decision, I expect it to be up in pace. I just expect there to be a lot of offense. Regardless of when it ends. So I'm pretty interested in both of these guys. Like Simon, I think Wellmaker wins, but when Simon gets finishes, they usually come with like a lot of offense beforehand. So his finishes score really well, even if they come in the later rounds. I think it's probably Wellmaker early or Simon late. Like you said, it is a bit of a coin flippy fight. It's at bantamweight. These lower weight classes, the fights are always competitive. So I think I'm just going to take the side that this fight is going to be up in pace. I'll lean a little bit more towards the Wellmaker side for his finishing upside. And, the gap in their pricing isn't super wide. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a moderately owned fight. They're at 24 and 21, respectively, Wellmaker and Simon. And I'll probably come in about around that, maybe a little heavier on Wellmaker. No, I'm actually coming in a little short on this fight, but not anything significant.
Yeah, I think you broke it down perfectly. If it's early, it's probably Wellmaker. If it's a late type of finish, it's probably on the same inside, Simon, whatever you say his name. He needs volume, right, Dan? Like you said, he's not getting there on like just one punch, and
right.
He's going to need to like volume it up a little bit. So, which he can do, by the way, he totally can. It's just, and I do think it is a step down in competition from who he's fought the last two times. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. I think it's a good fight to have some of both sides of. It sounds like Dan's getting a little lower on this fight with some of the other fights on the card. Let's go to the next fight. We got Alatong Ali 6,900 on DraftKings versus Blackshear, Damien Blackshear, 9,300. We know what Blackshear is, man. He's a submission. He's a grappling beast. He wants to get you to the ground. If he gets you to the ground, he's going to work to find a finish. Like, that's what he does. If he can get you there, he's got a pretty good chance of submitting just about anybody. Now, I will say this might not be the easiest matchup from like a finishing standpoint because Alatong Ali is tough. He's more of a decision type of guy. He does have power, but a lot of his fights are going to decision. So I like normally with Blackshear, I'll always bet like the sub because it's like if he's finishing it most of the time, he's getting that sub. This is one though that I'm worried about because I think he could just win a boring decision the way Ali fights. I kind of worry about this fight scoring well in DraftKings.
Yeah, I think that's warranted. Again, submission grapplers, there's always the downside that they can win without enough offense coming beforehand. I really like Blackshear. I was on him heavily against Gibson last time because he was going to have a pretty, I mean, you saw it play out, like the size and physicality advantage, because once he got him down to the mat, I think Gibson looked kind of okay for some of the first round, but once Blackshear started to take over later, he just like really put a beating on him. And like you mentioned, I don't think that this is necessarily a matchup where he's going to be able to do just that, but he's got really good finishing upside. His inside the distance line is plus 110, which is really strong. I think Alatang Haley is a pretty solid defensive wrestler, defensive grappler, but I just think Blackshear's got him. Like, he's got a pretty sizable advantage there. So finish wouldn't surprise me. He's probably not going to score enough in a decision. I just don't. He would have to like really dominate in the grappling. And I just think like Alatang Haley, I think he'll be competitive enough in a decision to sort of like suppress the scoring. So you probably really need a finish, but that's obviously on the table. On the other side, Alatang Haley, like I might outright fade Alatang Haley.
I mean, he needs a knockout.
Yeah, and he's plus 900 to win inside the distance, so it's probably not happening. He's a dart, and like it's pretty rare that there are multiple options this low that I'm like pretty interested in. But you know, Jimmy Flick, I can't believe I'm saying this, Anthony Smith. I mean, those two guys are the ones that I'm most interested in. But Chelsea Chandler, I'm more interested in her. So it's like Alatang Haley, Poliana Vanna, or sort of.
I'd be more interested in the Gage Young kid.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So Alatang Haley, obviously not a priority for me at all. If I don't get any, like I'm not gonna like X him out, but if I don't get any of him, I'm not gonna try to bump him in there. It's 14 fight slate. I never go out of my way to fade anybody, but once we start getting up to 13, 14 fights, if someone's just not making the builds, then I'm usually just okay with that.
Yeah, it makes sense to why, honestly, you would want to fade. I'm going to fade him. So if he somehow gets like that one power shot that knocks out Blackshear in the first round, at any point
on the next week,
we're screwed. But yeah, exactly. But if this is decision, Dan, I'm totally comfortable with it. If Blackshear finds a second round submission or something like that, I think I can live with the scoring that he gets too. Because I mean, he's also 9,300, so
yeah,
he's still got to outscore a lot of those 9K guys to get to the optimal. So
yeah, I mean, we talked about it briefly, but he beat the shit out of Gibson last time and only scored a 93 with a second round sub. So yeah, I mean, that's 10x generally isn't enough to do it up in the 9Ks, but
in the way Alatang Haley fights, I feel like it's going to be like a second or third round submission, not like a quick one. Like if it's going to be a finish, it's going to be like a later finish.
Yes.
So honestly, I might fade both these guys, Dan. Like in DFS, I might fade both these guys. So, but again, I'm not playing 150. You're playing 150, so you're not going to fade Blackshear in your 150. But I assume you're going to be under on him, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be under. I mean, he projects to be nearly 30% owned. I'll probably be somewhere in the mid to high teens, just because, I mean, he does have great finishing upside, but the range that he's in, just above him, you've got Amari, you've got Ming Zhang Yang, way above him, Alice Garov, and then below him is Schnell, Edwards, Randy Brown, Onama, Pereira, Garry. Like it's just stacked up at the top and like the top of the mid range. So yeah, tough to get to the field on Blackshear there. I don't really know. I mean, the field is probably just like thinking back to his last performance and like, oh, he was like really dominant, but again, it didn't score all that well. And
and it could just easily be the same thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, next fight here on the card, another fight that kind of coin flippy. Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda. Chris Gutierrez a little more of a favorite though, I guess, minus 142 on DraftKings right now. John Castaneda sitting plus 120, and DK for DraftKings 8,200, 8K. Dan, this is the price line fight that a lot of people like to get in their lineups because they love those mid-tier lineups here. But Chris Gutierrez, even though he you know, decision, a lot of times decision wins more or less with him, especially recently. He's got a few losses in there to the guys who, in my mind, are steps up in competition from what he's been facing. But he doesn't score really great, even when he wins decisions. And at 8,200, he's going to have to give us a decent score on this card. He's going to have to outscore the Romeros, the Kowambas, I mean, how many other fights are like well makers? Simon, like he's going to have to outscore a lot of that range. And I just don't think he does it. Like he's just a volume kicker who is super patient. He kind of waits for you to make a mistake. And so it just kind of depends on who his opponent is. Last fight out against Lee, he got taken down a little bit, controlled a little bit. I do think Castaneda, his control's not great, but I do think he could push the takedowns. He doesn't quit. So I think this could be a split decision fight, Dan. I got Castaneda, but again, I think this ends in a split decision. And, you know, I think it's like the volume of Chris Gutierrez leg kicks against John Castaneda and the takedowns, and if he can get some control time against Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, Castaneda is the higher upside option, but this fight, the pacing in this fight is just miserable. We're not going to see a whole lot of offense. The most offense like Castaneda has ever put out was against Kang, you know, just over 100 significant strikes, couple takedowns, some control. That scored a 95. That would work at 8K, but I don't think he's really going to be able to do that against Gutierrez. Like Gutierrez just doesn't really get hit like that.
Because he's constantly moving. He's constantly circling. He's got his stick and move. It's not like combinations where he's even staying in front of you for long periods of time. He's just like one kick or one or two punch, and then he's circling. Like so, yeah. And he's like on his bicycle the entire. That's what's annoying about Chris Gutierrez fights. Guys can't like get a hold of him even at some points. When they do, they can have success. It's just he's so tough because he kicks your leg to shit and he keeps moving. So it makes it harder for you to move, and he continues to circle. So it's just a tough spot for a lot of guys. But I do agree the Castaneda side has the upside in DFS. What's the ownership coming in at?
They're both coming in at 17%, which is fine. I don't think that's like super. I mean, it feels a little high, but like you said, people love these mid-range fights. Good for salary. I'm going to come in under that again. Like I'm not trying to fail. I've been trying to get away from just like selling things super, super hard, you know, just because there's so much variance. And
where's really the fun in that, Dan? No fucking fun in not selling something hard. That's boring. Yeah, I'm fading Chris Gutierrez shitty ass. If he beats me, he beats me. He's got very little, unless he catches Castaneda coming in and like knocks him out, which I don't think is going to happen. Or he leg kicks him.
Plus 650. I agree with you. Like I'm definitely more apt to fade Gutierrez than Castaneda. Yes. I guess my comments were more about Castaneda. Like I could see myself getting to around 15% of him. I want this fight again
canceled.
You would have to
I want Chris Gutierrez out of the UFC. I can't stand watching Chris Gutierrez, and all they do is suck him off too when he fights. I don't understand. Like he's so high level. I'm like, I guess he's got good footwork and he does have great low kicks, but man, he doesn't. They were getting on him a little bit like towards the end. I forget who was commentating, but they were like at the end of one of his recent fights, they were like, man, I wish he would just go for it a little bit more and try and finish him. And
a lot of his fights,
he just doesn't. Huh?
A lot of his fights have been getting canceled, but it's all been his opponents pulling out. His last three fights before here all got canceled, but it was all his opponents. Yeah, I mean, Castaneda's the DFS play. Gutierrez, you can probably safely fade. Looking at it now, I'm getting 1%. I might get a little more once I flatten some things out, but he's similar to Aljamain Sterling. Like if I end up getting none, I'm probably fine with that.
Yeah, I'll probably come in like 10 to 15% on Castaneda, and then I probably won't play Gutierrez. So do you think you're going to bet one side right now, or do you not know yet?
Let me see. I mean, probably not. It's a pretty coin flippy fight. Looks like Gutierrez is the one taking on money. Now, I'm just gonna stay away from this one. Maybe bet it
live.
I mean, there's so many like fun fights on this card. I might just like use this one to go to the bathroom or something.
Use this one to take a dump. What's this fight to be won by split decision?
Split decision, yeah. I mean, I'm not interested in this fight, man. This is gonna be.
It's plus 250, split or majority.
They put it right in the middle, so you can take a break.
Yeah, I get it. It's for the people, Dan, that want to bet every single fight on the card. Okay, you don't have to.
Okay. No doubt. I mean, Castaneda by decision.
Yeah, I think if he wins, dude. I think if either of these guys win, it's by decision. What's the to win by decision? Just to fight to go the distance.
I'm on the Gutierrez.
Oh, it's minus 350.
Gutierrez is like plus 100 by decision. I don't know.
Plus 100. Yeah, that makes sense.
Move on from this fight.
Yeah, it's a rough fight.
Let's talk about this a little more.
All right, let's go to the next fight here. This is a fight that I was kind of confused by when I saw the line. When I saw Evan Elder was fighting Gage Young, which I was like, okay, he's going to be like minus 250 at least. Maybe more. Maybe minus 300. And then I saw the line and I was like, oh no, the line's moving the opposite way. It's under minus 200 now. It's minus 198. Evan Elder is still favored, but Gage Young plus 164 on DK Sportsbook. Taking some money here for Gage Young. Hasn't fought yet in the UFC. Did fight on Dana White's Contender Series. He did fight someone good too. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but it was like one of those fights, Dan, where he lost the decision, but Dana got in there and pretty much gave both guys like the no matter what happens in the decision, you guys did awesome type thing. That's who it was, Sal Kill.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, Sal Kill was pushing the takedowns at the end. He was exhausted. He was pushing the takedowns and the grappling because Gage Young was tough and he was trying to trade with them and stand with them. And Sal Kill's dangerous. He's dangerous on the feet and he's got good grappling and stuff. So I thought Gage Young showed out pretty well. This fight, though, is just odd because, like, Evan Elder, to me, I just feel like he's a little better everywhere. And he's got more fights in the UFC, a little more experienced. And I just don't see where Gage Young, outside of maybe just, like, dog, little toughness, I don't think he's a guy that Evan Elder's going to run through and, like, finish. But I think, like, no matter where this fight goes, Evan Elder might just have him here. So I think Evan Elder wins. I think he wins a decision probably, but Gage Young is tough. Like, I think for DFS, you should take some shots on Gage Young because he's going to fight for your money.
Yeah, I'm on the Gage Young side. The line has been moving steadily towards him all week. His inside the distance line has shrunk to now it's plus 400, which isn't great in a vacuum, but for 7,100, that's pretty solid. Gage Young is actually one of the better values on the slate now because of the line movement. And Evan Elder just, both of these guys are just okay. But
right,
Gage Young has the wrestling upside. He's got he's a better like finishing value as far as price is concerned. And like Evan Elder's defensive wrestling is not good. So I'm going to be coming in really light on Elder because he just doesn't produce enough offense, doesn't have enough finishing upside. He's going to be low owned. He's going to be, mid-teens. So he's viable as like a contrarian option to just kind of mix in should he, land a finish of some kind. But you're going to need an early finish from him because he definitely will not get there in a decision. Whereas Young can definitely get there in a decision with the wrestling. He can finish the fight. So, yeah, I'm on Young, and I'm going to have a lot more of him than I have of Elder for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like for DFS, I'll probably have more Young too, and I'll probably be either under or fading Elder. Even though from a betting side, I didn't bet Young, but it makes sense. 7,100, the line's moving in his favor. I think he's pretty good. Like, he's got good defensive wrestling. I think he's got decent wrestling. I don't think, though, that he really wants to wrestle, Dan. I think he wants to, like, strike it out, but he has, like, the wrestling in his back pocket that he'll use if he needs to. But it's honestly more to, like, counter wrestle than I think it is for him to, like, just offensively push a wrestling pace. I think he wants to, like, stand and bang. And then if he's losing that, he'll resort to the wrestling. But
he's got some
I don't think
solid
he
power
necessarily
on the
wants
feet.
to.
He's got some solid power on the feet, so he's definitely live to find a knockout. But
And he can take a shot.
I really hope he
He
wrestles.
took some shots. I don't think he's. You think he's gonna wrestle here? I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's going to wrestle unless, like, Evan Elder forces it on him, is more what I'm saying, which could happen. Like, if Evan Elder's trying to initiate takedowns, and then he counters it and gets it. Like, I think that's how it would happen, which either way, you can get reversals. He can get his own takedown. So it could score decent, but I agree with you. For DFS, the young is the side I would be on 7,100. I don't like Elder's price tag at 9,400. I think there's better, studs on the card. If you're 150ing, though, he's probably going to be one of the lower owned 9K options. So what would you have to be to get over on Evan Elder, Dan, at the ownership?
Yeah, he's 13 right now. So
not much.
I'm probably coming in below that. I
would too, but
I want the options around him so much more. And I mean, he would have to probably get like a
you'd have
to get like a
next fight
or multiple
like this
knockdowns.
Next fight. I would much rather play both sides of this next fight than play both sides of this fight.
What's the next fight? Let me see.
Schnell and Flick.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So we're both on the same DFS side. It's Young from a betting side. You're probably going to bet Young.
Yep.
I think I'm going to stay away. Well, I might bet Evan Elder by decision when we get there, because I don't think he's going to finish Young. Young is tough. Young's a tough dude. So, we'll see. I'll put it in the Discord and stuff when we get to that fight. Next fight on the card, Jimmy Flick, a popular dog from what the line looks like, because it keeps moving in Jimmy Flick's favor at plus 130 against Matt Schnell, minus 155 now on DraftKings for Schnell. And I kind of get it, Dan. I kind of get the line moving a little bit in Jimmy Flick's favor. I will say one thing. Matt Schnell hasn't had the easiest go around with the UFC the last few fights he's had. I mean, like Cody Durden, okay, he lost to Cody Durden, but I mean, like Steve Erceg, Nikolai, Roy Val. These are some of the guys he's fought like recently, like 3 of his last 5 fights. He has that one win in his last 5 against Sumundarji 4 fights ago by sub. But outside of that, he's getting finished. And, 4 of his last 5 fights, he's been finished in, whether 2 by sub and 2 by KO. So he's one of those guys, like, it can happen either way. And I also feel like his style puts him in wars. Like, defensively, he's not very good on the feet and on the mat. So if you have striking or power, you can hurt him on the feet. If you have grappling, you can get him on the mat. Jimmy Flick has grappling. We just saw Cody Durden, who, let's be honest, like Cody Durden's like nothing special. And Cody Durden got him down.
I hate Cody Durden.
I know you do.
I hate him.
Found a submission against Matt Schnell. I think Jimmy Flick's path is to get him down and find a submission. So I like Jimmy Flick. I bet him by submission. The submission line went from plus 300 to 225 overnight between last night and today. So I think people like Jimmy Flick. Everything's moving that way. What are you doing for DFS?
I'm going to be heavy on both sides of this fight. I think someone's getting knocked out or choked out, like you mentioned. I'm also on the Flick side. It's just that Schnell is really vulnerable on the mat and on the feet, whereas Flick is just vulnerable on the feet. So, Matt Schnell, Not really a finisher, not a power puncher by any means, but he can finish Jimmy Flick. Like there's like if it's on the feet and Schnell connects with a few, even maybe just one, like he can put out Jimmy Flick. His durability is non-existent. But yeah, Schnell's chin is also dust. Schnell is super vulnerable on the mat. Flick is a dangerous submission grappler. He's really one-dimensional. It's like the only thing he does, but he does it really well. So this fight is minus 350 to end inside the distance. I'm slamming both sides. Like this fight is going to be so fucking funny, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah, because it's going one way or the other. And like even the line, like Matt Schnell to win by KO or Jimmy Flick to win by submission is minus 225. They know it's going one way or the other. It's one of those things are happening pretty much.
Speaking of meme fights, it's like you can't think of Matt Schnell without the Tonioni video where he's like, the weight your head.
Yes.
The way the back of your head hit slammed on the mat. That was bad. You'll see it on tape. Kills me, dude.
That was so good. That was really good. Matt Schnell, he's had some wars, man. Like some of his fights too, you'll watch him and you'll be like, man, he looked like he was going to win until he just died, like all of a sudden. And so unfortunate luck for him, but
he's been
fighting
good competition, man. It's been really rough.
And
honestly, his last win against Sumaderji, he probably should have lost that fight. That was like a miracle that he won.
Dude,
so really,
that fight was a war.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
UFC Long Island.
That fight was a war.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. And you just admitted Cody Durden was pretty good without saying anything, just by saying he's been fighting some pretty good competition. So I heard it. You don't have to go back on it. I already heard it. You can't change it now. You already said it. No takebacks. We're both on the Jimmy Flick side. Good fight for DFS. This is one of those fights probably want to get both sides of because I think someone's getting finished in a bad way. So like it a lot. Let's go to Let's go to the next fight here. Ikram Aliskerov minus 485 versus Andre Munis. Munis plus 370 on DK Sportsbook. And you alluded to it. Aliskerov's price tag on DraftKings, 9,700 here against Andre Munis. Obviously, Andre Munis, he's got really good grappling, but he can be finished. He's been knocked out by Paul Craig. Allen submitted him. So Ikram Aliskerov definitely has paths wherever this fight goes. Dan, what do you think happens here? Munis, Aliskerov.
I mean, I think Aliskerov runs through him. Munis is a pretty okay offensive grappler, but defensively, he's just really bad on the feet and the mat. So this is kind of similar to the Amarim fight where a lot of my interest in Aliskerov is just like who his opponent is. Like I think there's definitely paths for Aliskerov to completely dominate for 3 rounds, for 2 rounds. Whether or not that scores enough at 9,700 is a little sketchy. You probably need to finish. But to me, this is really similar to the spot we had Chase Hooper in against, I'm blanking, Jim Miller, except better because Munis is not nearly as tough a competition as Jim Miller in my mind.
And Jim Miller's defensive grappling is really, really good. Like the fact that he couldn't find a way to submit Jim Miller when he had him down like that for so long was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and this just feels like a teed up match off for Aliskerov. Like he got brutally knocked out by Whitaker last time out. They're trying to get him back on track, and they're giving him somebody in Munis who he can like really dominate, just on the feet or on the mat. I have really little interest in Munis. I mean, the odds imply he's got a 21% chance to win at 6,500. He's a grappler. Probably any win for him will score well enough to contend for the optimal. And again, like these 6K fighters, they unlock these triple top builds that we want to get to just because this top range is so strong. So I'll probably be mixing him in. He's got some submission upside. Yeah, it looks like I'm getting around 16% of him now. So what's he project? He's projected to come in around 12. So I've got him about as much as I've got Smith. I've got Jimmy Flick way more. I've got Gage Young more, Chandler more. But yeah, he's the biggest dog on the card. But yeah, you know, the more I think about it, the more I'm probably going to take him down. I just don't see how he wins this fight. Honestly, I think Garov has just like really got him everywhere.
I think you brought up the best point, which is the UFC just gave him like the ball on the tee. Like they literally just gave him an easy out, someone they know. Like, listen, this was a guy that they gave him a massive step up in Bobby Whitaker after 2 fights, and it kind of shit the bed from what they were thinking. And so now they probably feel like they have to build him back up a little bit, because they probably stepped him up a little too quickly, right? Just from who he was fighting to, you know, Bobby Whitaker, and then how he lost to Whitaker, not the best look either. So
brutally,
yeah, I think I think they gave him someone they know he can dominate pretty much, and that's what this matchup is. And Munis is comfortable. You brought up like defensive, he's comfortable on his back too, which is not good because like someone like Garoff's gonna be okay, I think. And you know, yeah, I think he's gonna find. I think it's either gonna be like, I think he's gonna find a knockout. It's either gonna be like ground and pound, or just like Muniz on his back and just pound away, or you know, he's gonna finish him on the feet and, you know, dust him there. So either way, I think he runs through him. The question is, does he score well enough in DFS, and how do we put him up with Ming Yang and Amorim for like the top tier DraftKings pricing? Like, how do you rank those 3?
How do I rank them? Let's see. Garov is 1, then Zhang, then Amorim, in that order of price. Like that's their ranking.
I think I'd go Amorim, Garov, Ming Yang.
They're all really even for me. I'm gonna get to them pretty evenly. So as a question, I'm going to be over on Garov most likely because he's going to be mid to high 20s, and I'm probably going to be almost pushing 40s.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get over on that too, Dan, just because I feel like with the 9K guys I'm personally not going to play, like I think I'm going to be able to get over on him. So at that ownership. So yeah, I'm either going to be at it or over. Well,
everyone in this top 3, like everyone in this top 3, I mean, this is true for any fighter, but they all are kind of boom or bust. Like Zhang, if he doesn't win in the first round, he might lose the fight. He might just lose the fight. He's literally never won a fight outside the first round. Again, we'll get there. Amorim, like she could win and score shit. Elder, no upside. Blackshear, like we talked about the downside with him. So, you know, as far as sort of opportunity cost goes, like there's no real reason to not kind of shove in on Garov. He's got like some of the best finishing odds, one of the best round 1 numbers. And again, Munis is just void defensively. So yeah, I like Garov a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like him a lot. I'm going to get over on him. We're both in agreement there. Next fight on the card, Randy Brown and Nicholas Dalby. Randy Brown, 8,900. Nicholas Dalby, 7,300. And with Nicholas Dalby, I mean, plus 250 on DraftKings Sportsbook. He's a dog, man. Those are the type of fighters that I love backing as a big dog, because they're like kind of he's never the most skilled guy, so you don't even have to worry about it off the back, but he uses his cardio as a weapon, and he tries to keep moving forward. And how do you beat Randy Brown? Well, Randy Brown's got a massive reach advantage against almost everyone he fights. He's bigger, he's taller than most, right? But I think the way you just beat him is pressure. Constantly push him back, move forward, and get out of that like kicking range and get in his face. Clinch up, make it dirty, don't make it super technical. And that's kind of what Battle did when he fought him. Even though Battle is a little taller, he does have a little more reach and stuff. He did that exact thing, Dan. He didn't fight a clean fight. it was super dirty. It tons of, grappling, tons of clinching, knee strikes. Everything was just in tight. When he was like hurting Randy Brown, it was all in tight. When Randy Brown was having success, it was mainly at range when he was having success. Like there was one point in the second round where I could tell Randy Brown was tired because he would get to range, he would throw, like have a good combination, and then for some reason, he would initiate the grappling. And then, which is what Battle wanted. And then Battle would like reverse the position, and then he'd get some knees and grind on him a little bit more. And like that's what Nicholas Dalby's going to do. He's going to do I think he's going to try and do the exact same thing as Battle. So I like Nicholas Dalby at the price. I'm going to probably bet him just as a dog. But again, he's like not the better fighter. Like Randy Brown is the better fighter. He's got more finishing upside. If you want the finishing upside, it's on the Randy Brown side. But I'm going to take the shot that Nicholas Dalby can at least get to a decision, Dan. That's kind of more like if he wins, he wins. That's great. Like I'm going to bet it at that number. But for DFS, if this goes to a decision and it's a grindy, not a technical fight, I'll take my chances that Randy Brown doesn't score super well in DFS. So give me a little more Nicholas Dalby, but I don't think I'm going to fade either guy.
No, I'm not going to fade either guy. Randy Brown, he's projected to come in like 15% owned. And if you're playing him, it's as a contrarian play, and you're going to want to finish from him because he just doesn't – he can wrestle. But I feel like this fight plays out pretty much entirely on the feet unless Dalby is the one like forcing wrestling. But yeah, you're going to need a knockout from Brown if he's going to contend for the optimal. And Dalby has never been finished. Dalby's looking better and better every time he comes out. Like you said, he's a dog. He's got the cardio. He's got durability. So I think the most likely outcome is this fight goes to decision. And if Dalby wins, he'll probably be a pretty good contender for the optimal, because if he wins, it's going to come with some wrestling. It's going to come with some control time. Even if that's just him leaning up against the cage on Brown.
Well, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone wants to do against Brown. And I think that's why Brown always will have a little wrestling upside, because he's going to constantly be, if he's constantly getting clinched, he's going to constantly be in positions where he might be able to reverse a position and get the guy down. But like, he's not going to be shooting like, doubles or anything. Like it's not like he's going to be shooting takedowns, but it would be off of Nicholas Dalby clinching and stuff like that, and grappling and stuff where he can maybe do it. But yeah, I agree with you. He needs a finish. Like, look at all of his scores, his decision wins at 8,900. They're not doing it in DraftKings, but all the fights where he's getting finishes, Dan, they'll score well in DraftKings. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think you want to fade Randy Brown because he does have that power to put him out. But Nicholas Dalby's a tough dude. Like, he's not the easiest guy to just put out. Is kind of my point. So, and his cardio is great.
And like, it's lined to go to decision, like 35% like 65% of the time implied to go to decision. So there's not a whole lot of upside here. Dalby Dalby will be a good play if all the other dogs in his range fail and he like wins. But I'm also just not like, I think Dalby's absolute ceiling in this matchup is probably 90 something. And I think there's just other options down here that have way higher upside than that. So I'm going to mix him in because, again, he just like keeps exceeding expectations. Probably be getting to him around the field, probably around like 15%. Randy Brown, I'll probably be getting around, mid 20s just for his knockout upside. Yeah, I'll have like 10 to 15% of Munis, probably closer to 10. But yeah, I mean,
I probably won't have any, but
he probably
again, Dan's playing 150. I'm not, so I play like anywhere from 40 to 50 lineups. So a little tighter on the pool, but
he's real low on my list of priorities.
Yeah, I think the UFC gave Alice Garoff a good spot.
Yeah.
Does anyone else do their best work picking winners on the toilet? I'm assuming you're talking about JBC, and the answer is no way, because he picks a lot of winners from the toilet. I'll just say that. Spends a lot of time on that thing. But
I do a lot of
yeah,
my best thinking in the bathroom,
I mean, who doesn't? It's the
on the
best time to
toilet,
think.
in the
You're
shower.
totally alone. Like you get away from everyone. Like no one wants to go in there. It's perfect. LG's player pool is 8 guys, a little more than 8, but I get what you're saying, Terry. I do like to slim it down as much as possible, probably to my detriment. Let's go to the next fight here. We've got Michel Pereira and Abus Magomedov, 7,600 for Magomedov. Pereira, 8,600. Last time out, we saw Pereira. He lost in a decision, or I'm sorry, he got finished by Fluffy. 5 rounds. Fluffy just total relentless beast. Fluffy was, and I just think Pereira, he just couldn't handle just the constant pressure, and I don't think many are going to be able to handle that constant pressure. So I don't know how much I knock him for that. Can Abus come in here, Dan, and do the same thing? I do not think so. He has been wrestling a lot more recently. So I do think he's going to try to, the takedowns and stuff once he realizes that Michel is just constant pressure and in his face. He's not going to like it. So I think the worry with him is I think he's going to be on his back foot a lot. I think he's going to panic wrestle at one point, and Michel's going to catch him, probably finish him. I think we've seen him hurt. I think he can be finished. I mean, Bruno, he didn't want anything to do with Bruno. Bruno's got big power, but he wanted nothing to do with that. I like the Pereira side. Right now, he's minus 142 on DraftKings. The under, that's under 1.5. Under 1.5 is plus 160. I don't think this fight goes past the second round, Dan. So kind of like the under, but I like Pereira here. Where are you at?
I'm just going to take the dog money with Magomedov. I'm going to play more Magomedov at a cheaper price. Look, when it comes to the feet, this is probably a pretty coin flippy fight. I think it mainly plays out on the feet. And I think when they come together, it's going to be, they're both aggressive. They're both really explosive. So I think it's going to be explosive striking exchanges. And it's just a matter of who connects first, So from that perspective, this is a pretty even fight. And then on the Abus side, I think he's the better grappler and better wrestler. Like you said, he's been wrestling a lot more. He's got 10 takedowns over his last 2 fights, which is awesome. So you've got the finishing upside. You've got wrestling upside. You've got dog money. They're both going to be owned about the same. They're both high 20s. So like, I'm going to be heavy on Abus. I think I probably would have favored Pereira to start, but the more I looked into it, I like the Magomedov side. The only thing that concerns me about him is his cardio kind of has a tendency to taper off in the later rounds, but Pereira doesn't really have the best cardio either. So, I think that's probably kind of a push as well. So when it comes down to it, it's like Abus is the one with the advantage on the mat. So I'm just going to side with him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tougher for Abus to get in control Pereira than he might think. So I don't think he's going to have the success that Fluffy had. So
he's not Fluffy. Like Fluffy is a different kind of dude. Fluffy will probably.
And he doesn't have that type of conditioning that Fluffy has. Abus wrestles, but he's like exhausted doing it. So if he's wrestling that much against Pereira, I think he's going to get in trouble at some point. I don't think he can do that against him for that long. Like Pereira, even though he got dominated, he wasn't like he was trying. Like it was just Fluffy just stayed on him. Like Abus can't. I don't think Abus can do that. Is more my point. So
almost like nobody can really do that. Like like Fluffy can do that, and I'm blanking. He'll probably fight for a belt someday. Like
Marab can obviously just stay on you too, like obviously like that, but it's just different when he's like just never letting you go, like just ever, like you're just constantly just wet blanket just all over the guy from start to finish. So,
like you said, though,
all right,
this one's not making it out of the second round, most likely. So,
I don't
and
think
these
so.
prices, 8,600, 7,600, super reasonable. Don't need a super mega smash to be optimal, but that's also definitely on the table.
Yep, for sure. So me and Dan are split on that fight. Let's go to 3 more fights on the card. Giga Chikadze plus 170 against my boy David Onama. Love this guy. Coming out as a favorite here, minus 205 on DK Sportsbook. So that line's moving a little bit more in his favor. Chikadze sitting at plus 170. And Onama 8,800 on DraftKings, Chikadze 7,400. I will be honest, Onama has won me a lot of money. I've bet him as a dog many of times, and he's came through for me. I honestly love him as a dog, Dan. I absolutely hate him as a big favorite, and there's a couple reasons why. One, I feel like in all of his fights, even though he wins a lot of them, there's always a moment where he gets hurt. Like he always gets like a little nicked up, dropped, almost subbed. You know, it's not that just that Romero fight. You know, in the Santos fight, he got hurt a few times on the feet. You know what I mean? Santos got him down, but he's so athletic. He's got such great hips. Even when you get him down, his grappling is very good. He can reverse positions really well. He can find his way back up. And one thing I noticed about him, Dan, he recovers really fast.
Yep.
So like he can be hurt, but he recovers very, very well. And I think that could happen in this fight. I wouldn't be shocked if first round, Giga won the first round. Maybe he drops him with like a head kick or something like that. But like Onama will recover, and Onama's just going to push a pace that Giga's not going to like. He's not going to be like Arnold Allen and just allow Giga to circle and throw one or two punch at a time like Arnold Allen was doing. David Onama is going to get in his face and just push him back, get out of that kicking range, and keep him moving back. Because when you're moving back, when you're constantly in tight, Giga, it's almost like now he's just got a box, and Giga's best weapons are his feet. So if David Onama can get into that range, look at what he did in the Santos fight. He knocked them out when they were in tight. He threw that uppercut, and then that one, and he was just he went flat, like boom, just right on his back. David Onama he did against Romero. He had that nice step in elbow where they were in nice and tight, and he stepped right in, hit him with the elbow. He does his best work, in my opinion, when the fight's in close, and he's got a nice jab when they're at range. So I don't love it at range because I think that's where Giga wants it, and I think Onama's not going to stay there. I think he's going to push him forward, and I don't know if he finishes Giga, but he's going to make it super uncomfortable. So I wouldn't be shocked if he found a finish here. I'm on the Onama side, but I think for DFS, you could play both sides because I could see Onama getting hurt.
Yeah, so I'm actually getting very little of Onama. I'm not getting much Giga, and I'm actually probably gonna mush him. It's just like this is a tough matchup for.
This sounds like you're betting Giga.
Well, let me see. I'll tell you right now in 1 second. I really don't want to bet Giga. I don't love him. No, I will not be betting Giga. I will be betting Onama.
I love that. There you go. By finish?
What's the price on?
I think he's plus 2 something.
Come down to plus 185. Yeah, by finish. I don't know. It's kind of my hesitation on Onama for DFS is the fact that Giga, is pretty defensively sound.
He's really plus 200 on DraftKings by finish if you want a better line.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I just it's like Giga just doesn't really get finished. He could. He definitely could. He's going to be one of the lower owned options, sort of.
But look who Giga's fought like recently. He's fought guys that like will entertain his style. Like David Onama's style is like entertaining. It's in your face. It's constant pressure. It's like the opposite of like Allen, Caceres, Cater. Like yeah, those guys are maybe you view them as higher level, like strikers or whatever. But my point is more like they're just different styles. Like I don't think David Onama is just going to play that game with Giga.
It's just tough to pay for him, at 8,800 with plus 195, or now I guess plus 185 to end inside the distance. It's similar to Randy Brown. I will say, you've touched on it a bunch. Like Onama does have a pretty high paced style. He does produce a lot of offense. If he mixes in some wrestling and grappling, which he's been doing more and more and has shown he's capable of, then he's got potential to score well in a decision. It's just going to be so tough for him. Like, look, like every time I look over here, it's just like this range is so stacked.
Okay, would you rather have Randy Brown or David Onama? Let's play the game.
I think Randy Brown, just because.
Really?
Wait. I mean, God. Well, I'll just see what I have them ranked and who I have.
Yeah. I would rather have.
I've got way more Randy Brown. I've got way more.
Would you rather have Joselyn Edwards or David Onama?
I have more David Onama than Joselyn.
Okay, we're rolling here right now. That who else here? Let's see who else is in this range. Who else do we put Machado Garry in that range? 8,500. Is that
it's Garry all day.
You take Garry. Okay.
100% of that fight.
What about Pereira? He's 8,600.
Yeah, I think I like Pereira more than. Yeah, I like Pereira more than Onama as well.
Okay.
I have concerns about.
I might like Onama more than those guys.
I think with Onama, it's just I have pacing concerns. I have opponent concerns. I'm kind of starting to like Giga a little more the more that I look at it. Just
I knew you would.
Onama, the problem with Giga is that he just usually doesn't produce enough offense. But like you've touched on, Onama isn't going to let him just play that game. So if he's drawn into more of a firefight and he doesn't get knocked out, then he's definitely capable of producing enough offense at 7,400 to score well in a decision. And he's live to knock Onama out because, like we also touched on, like Onama seemingly gets hurt every fight, even though he hasn't been finished. So I think Giga's live for the knockout, even though, plus 425 inside the distance isn't really super impressive. But, Giga's going to be 16% owned. I'm happy to come in around there, maybe a little over for some knockout upside. He's cheap. But, yeah, I don't know. My stuff doesn't like Onama. I don't think this is a great matchup for him to reach a ceiling.
I think it's a good matchup. Oh, well, I think it's a good matchup. I think it's a good matchup for both guys. I think he's going to give Giga a chance to maybe find a finish, but I think he's also going to have a good chance to find his own finish. So I'm on the Onama side. I bet inside the distance. We'll see. Seems like some of the chat, Raxon loves Onama. Both Onama and Giga will come in higher owned than projected. Maybe that's possible. Giga's tough. I'd say decision for K. Alex Burner. It seems like everyone's a little hit or miss on this fight here, but we'll see. I do like him. I'm more on the Onama side than you are. Let's go to the second to last fight here. We got Ming Yang versus Anthony Lionheart Smith. Smith 6,600. Ming Yang 9,600. Second highest priced fighter on the card. Dan, we kind of already touched on the range. I think you said you had Ming Yang second in that upper 9K range. Yes. I think people view this fight like Ming Yang's got power. I don't think Ming Yang is like necessarily anything special. I just think he's got very good power, honestly. Like all of his fights, which I think he's had 18 fights, 25, something like that. Like every fight that he's winning is ending inside round one. Yeah. Every fight he's lost has went past round one. I think Anthony Smith's going to come in there. He knows that. He's going to come in there. He's going to try and stay away from the power. He's going to use his leg kicks, kind of annoy him. Hopefully he makes a mistake and rushes in. Maybe catches him or catches him in a grappling situation or something like that. Kind of like he did the Petrino. And, I'm going to have more Anthony Smith at 6,600. I just think even though Smith's on his way out, this is definitely a big step up in competition if Smith has anything left and he has a decent game plan and kind of knows like, okay, I got to just withstand that first round, try and like limit his power, either get in tight or stay away, like kick and move, use his footwork and try and annoy him, honestly. He's got a path here. So I'm going to take some Anthony Smith. I'm probably going to bet him at the number, but if Zhang comes in there or Ming Yang comes in there and it knocks him out in round 1, I won't be stunned. What are you doing with this fight?
Yeah, dude, I'm taking Anthony Smith too.
Let's go.
Yeah, so 9,600 Zhang Ming Yang. Obviously has some of the best finishing odds on the slate. Anthony Smith's durability seems to have completely left him. So, early finish for Zhang, the one which he will need to hit the optimal. That's fully on the table. He could quick win bonus this thing. I see Matt mentions Smith hasn't been finished in round 1 since 2013. That's true, but
dude, Smith is tough.
Yeah, he's tough.
He could take a beating.
So Zhang Ming Yang, his path to the optimal is very narrow. It's like an early finish or he's done. And the thing is like his grappling sucks. And Anthony Smith, for all of his faults and for how bad he's looked as of late, he's a world-class grappler. So you've got strength on mega weakness. Anthony Smith is 6,600. He's going to be probably sub 10% owned. I'm going to be looking to get double on that. I'm going to play a ton of Zhang as well, just because, I'm going to have both sides of this matchup really heavily. It's really high upside. Somebody's going to get finished, and probably spectacularly. So, I mean, there's not really much else to say. This is a great fight to target. Anthony Smith is probably my favorite dog down in the 6Ks.
He's my favorite 6K guy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say. Play 20% Anthony Smith and call it a day, dude. And I'm going to be shoving Zhang as well because that inside the distance number is awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play some Anthony Smith. I'm gonna bet him. I'm probably gonna bet the sub just because I can't help myself at plus 900. Just can't help but bet the Anthony Smith sub prop. But yeah, it's a good fight. I think for DFS because like Dan said, you could play both sides of it. Ming Yang's either knocking him out in round 1 or maybe Anthony Smith finds a way to pull it out in either decision or maybe by a sub. I don't know if he knocks him out, but it definitely is a step up in competition for.
Well, that's the thing too, is Zhang Ming Yang can be hurt on the feet as well. And yeah. Anthony Smith, he's not a great striker, but he's got power. He's got knockout power, and he can absolutely knock Zhang out. So, and again, we've already seen love that it's a retirement fight. It's usually really not good when I
think this is a pride retirement fight. He knew his last fight, he just had nothing. Like he couldn't.
That was a rough situation for him, his friend that had just died. He clearly was not in a good.
He wasn't there. Like he clearly wasn't there. And on top of it, though, he's fighting Reyes. The fight before, he's fighting Doldiz. These are good fighters, Dan. These are good, high level fighters. Now he's coming down. Like even if you think maybe the power's more there with Ming Yang, he's still, from a level of competition standpoint, he's coming back down.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fighting Chinese regional fighters, and that, as far as regional scenes go, is especially low level. Very weak.
And then he got Ozzy Diaz last very time out.
Competition. And we backed Ozzy Diaz over him because Ozzy Diaz was in the 6Ks, and he could knock Zhang out. He didn't, but he could have. I think Zhang
he could have. I won't lie. I didn't back Ozzy Diaz, but when I watched the fight, I was like, oh, he was definitely a little more alive, even though he got finished. Like he could have hurt. Like he could have got him. Like Ming Yang's nothing, in my opinion, special. But
I mean, Ming Yang was a minus 350 favorite, which is like pretty absurd. And he's a minus 370 favorite here against Anthony Smith. So he's a bigger favorite in this spot than he was against Ozzy Diaz.
I feel like the line is going to move in Smith's favor though a little. I think it's going to get. Yeah, he's plus 300 on DraftKings now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony Smith is the play here. He'll probably be one of the biggest leverage points on the slate. People are going to want to play. I think they're going to want to play Zhang over. They're going to want to play Zhang over Amarim. They're going to want to play Zhang over who's at the top? Ikram.
Yeah.
So that's again, yeah, great point of leverage too. I can't believe I'm backing Anthony Smith in the year 2025. He needs to retire.
I can believe it.
Stop losing money on him.
I can believe it. You're backing him. I see it. Let's go to the last fight here on the card. We got to get this done. I got to get out of here in a second. But Ian Machado, Garry versus Carlos Prates here. Dan, minus 155. Garry is on the money line. Prates plus 130. What are you doing with this fight? It kind of seems to me like, technical fight. Garry, that's what he wants, is a technical fight, or, maybe mixing the takedown, which we've seen him do when guys with power come in there. I wouldn't be stunned if he went heavy grappling here. What do you think with Ian Garry?
Yeah, I mean, Garry would probably be smart to lead on his grappling. I think Garry has a reputation. He hasn't scored very well, but I think over the course of 5 rounds at 8,500, he can definitely produce enough offense to score well in a decision, even a late round finish. Prates can be outstruck. Prates can be grappled, controlled. He's hittable. He's very untested. This is a big, big step up in competition for Prates. So I'm on Garry. I really like him here. He's going to be sub 40%, which for a 5-round fighter of his caliber is fucking stupid, honestly. Prates is going to be much more popular, and I can't say that that's wrong. 7,700. He is definitely going to be knockout or bust here. He doesn't really have any submission upside. He doesn't throw a ton of offense, but he is deadly accurate. The name of the game with Prates is power and precision. So while I think Garry is the much better, much more well-rounded, I think he's just better everywhere. Prates is extremely, extremely dangerous. So I'm going to be splitting my exposure here. I'm playing 100% of this fight, and I think it's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight. I think it's interesting, which style kind of wins out. Prates would be smart to pressure, get him backing up, and kind of make it a little more dirty. He's got the power. He's very precise too with his strikes. Garry is too. They're both very, precision strikers. I would love it if it just played out on the feet. It would be very interesting. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Garry at a certain point is going to mix in the grappling. And if Prates can kind of stop him from doing that, I think his style is going to win out. If Garry can have success mixing in the grappling with the technical striking and footwork on the feet, he's probably going to frustrate Prates here. So I got Prates. I think the pressure is going to win out here with Garry. But it's, obviously Gary's a favorite. I feel like the line's kind of moving a little in his favor.
Carlos Prates is not that far removed from getting outstruck by Trevin Giles and on track to lose that fight before he found the knockout. So going, it's two extremes. Garry is the extreme minute winner, and Prates
it's a
is
massive step up, 100%.
Yeah. And Prates is the extreme moment winner, So like you said, it's going to be
is just he's so much more dangerous. If Garry wins, he finds a submission for the first time. I don't think I'm sorry, if he finishes them, it's by submission. I don't think he's knocking out Carlos Prates. Dude's tough, but
he can be
we'll
hit.
See.
We haven't really seen him go up against anybody that can really crack. You know what I mean? I think he fought Neil Magny.
Yeah, but Machado doesn't want to crack, bro. You see him against Jeff Neal. You see him again. He doesn't want to actually crack. He always wants to be on the right end. He never wants to get into a firefight. So if that's the one thing with Machado, he's very smart. He knows what he's doing.
He does, like you said before, though, he's very accurate and he does have good power. He absolutely has knockout power. So if he hits Prates in the right spot, I think he can also knock him out.
We'll see.
I mean, that's true. That's
Maybe.
true for most people, right? If you hit them in the right spot, they're going to go down.
Obviously, yeah. I think he's. I don't think he's going to be like pressuring him. You know, I think he's going to be like using his footwork, kind of circling off, fighting more smart, obviously, because he knows like he wants a title shot. Like he knows he needs a win. He's not going to put himself in like supreme danger, in my opinion, to get a finish. That's just my opinion. I don't think so. Whereas Prates, I think he's going to try and like move forward and try and put dude's lights out. So
Matt's
we'll see.
Matt's
Dan,
asking if Gary has ever fought anyone with a longer reach. Yes. Michael Venom Page had a 5-inch.
And what did he do? He turned into a wrestler real fast in that one.
Yes, he did.
So.
Yes, he did. Raxton, this is the main event we can fade. Yeah, there are definitely paths to it failing. I'm just always going to make the case for playing it 100%. We've actually been back on track, I think, with 5-round fights. Last card, both.
Don't jinx it. Don't even say nothing, Dan. Don't jinx it.
It's happening again this week, 100% for sure. Main event.
All right, Dan. Best bet on the card. I got to get out of here. Best bet on the card. What do you got?
Ian Garry, -150.
All right, I was going to say Roberto Romero inside the distance, but I changed my mind. David Onama inside the distance just for Dan, +200 over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Check us out, RPS15, runpuresports.com if you want that 15% off your first month or week over on the site. RPS15 is your promo code. Get all the core plays, the playbooks, the write-ups, all the picks, bets from JBC and everyone else on the betting side. That's going to do it for us. Again, like I said, hit the like button on the video if you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week for another UFC card. Until then, for Dan and myself, we'll see you guys later. We're out. Peace.